Well, hi. It's been a while since we've connected, so I thought I'd welcome you into my living room. And in fact, it's a cold day here in Minnesota, so I even am sitting by the fire. I want to talk a little bit about the last section of our class. We move into leadership. So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the two guests that we have coming in the next 2 weeks. I want to talk about your paper. So here we go. If you haven't looked, I have uploaded online the rest of it in the weekly assignments, kind of what we have coming. We have the posts that are each of the weeks that are remaining, and then we have the worksheet number 2 that's left. I've had conversations with several people in the residential class and a few people online, and I am going to hold the phone, give you an extension. The residential version, we got off a little bit. We had a need to step back and ask some questions. And so last week we didn't do, we're integrating last week and this week residentially in together. And so it was clear to me that we needed some more space and we need some more time to talk about leadership. And while I wanted to have it the deadline before Thanksgiving just to kind of give you a break, I'm going to extend the deadline till Monday after Thanksgiving, which is December 1st, again by noon, and I will pick it up at that point. So if you have questions after watching, doing the readings, watching the videos, and I'll talk about those in a minute, and want to make a connection with me, I am out of town until Monday before Thanksgiving, but I'm around Tuesday and Wednesday of that week. And if you want to schedule either have an email conversation or a Google conversation versus Google video, I'd be happy to do that. So I'm going to explain it, but if you have questions, please get a hold of me. So last week, our readings were about integrating, connecting theology, ecclesiology, and leadership. And that will be part of this week's lecture. And then we have a guest coming this week. We have Father Michael Slosher. And he's a Roman Catholic priest. And so he's going to talk about how they put leadership together, how they connect their theology, ecclesiology, and leadership. So that's going to be the video this week. Because the person that posts those is out of town, those won't be up until next Tuesday, because that's when she's back in the office. Then the next week is Leadership is Us, or this week, I'm sorry, is Leadership is Us. And that has the missional leader and the teaming, the Claudius reading, and your reflection is on a short news article. So those are 2 pieces with it. The third piece is actually connecting to the Strengths Workshop from last week, but we will pick that up again, and Nancy Lee Gaucher will be coming to class on that week, the first week in December, and we will again videotape that and have that up. That is basically how to use strengths in teams. How do you put how do we take who we are and then we put that in conversation with others. So that will be coming for you to watch there. And then there's the Hybels reading for that. And I want you to think about Hybels' claims and agree or disagree with what that is for your post for that week. So that is the piece. The last week is just for you to kind of say, there's no reading for that week, but as you think back on this whole thing, especially as you look forward to what's going on, what are the questions that you still have about church, ministry, and leadership, and maybe more specific than you had at the beginning. So I want you to kind of hone down what you've learned and wonder where you want to go. I think it might help you as you think about other classes you choose to take, the electives, or as you enter into other classes that you draw on, for example, want to do more theologically, or expand your biblical understanding, or think about how your biblical understanding helps you think about leadership or helps you think about church, not just how to do a Bible study or something like that. So that's the flow of the next few weeks. Now what I want to do is just take a minute and talk about the worksheet. Many of you have emailed me or we've been in conversation, but let me just remind you that we're trying to connect your theological rocks that you did in your first worksheet and your view of church, that those two are the basis for this. Now, most of you I gave feedback to, I think are pretty solid around that. You may find you have another rock or you have some nuancing after you do this, but kind of start with what you did in worksheet 1. So think about your view of ministry now, view based on church, and think about some practices that make this happen. So, for example, one of our people talked about forgiveness. And so ministry has to be a community that allows for not everybody to be perfect and to work that out. One of the practices might be confession and absolution, or worship as a time, or communion as a time that you embody that. So I hope that kind of makes sense just a little bit. Then the second section is on Christian public leadership. And then the first part, again, moves it from church to ministry to leadership. And then the last part is about you. And it's thinking about who you are. Now, when it says 4 or 5 gifts or experience that you bring into Christian public leadership, you are free to draw on whatever you want. Maybe you have done work with life keys, or you've done some spiritual gifts inventories or things like that. But because we've done strength, you're certainly able to describe your leadership style and use the strengths in a robust way. Now, if you're not comfortable with that yet, if that's still a little bit new, that's up to you on how you want to do that. Now know that at the end of your program, we will be coming back to these whole sections, and that's when you're going to be integrating these into a more robust paper, and one that you're going to think back on what you've taken from the end of this semester to the very end. Well, that is all that I have for you. Other than this, I have had a joy having you in class. We had a great start. I appreciated the one-on-ones. Our middle section has been a little weird. We had a week off. We did projects. We didn't have the same kind of pattern. And so now we get into a rhythm for the next few weeks before we end. Again, if you have any questions, please call me or email me, and I would love to chat with you. That's it from Minnesota. Thanks.